You're off to the races.
Hey guys, how we going? Megan, Justin, how are we guys?
Hey,
Fine and dandy, sir. Fine and dandy.
That's the way. That's the way. How's everyone's week been?
JT. Oh, okay. Very busy actually, so really good. And I'm just feeling grateful I'm in Queensland and not Victoria. That's how my week's been. JT?
My week has been varied and mixed. Similar, lots of empathy for Victorians, but also lots of, exciting things happening around the industry as we slowly put oxygen back into this body.
Yeah, look, guys, it's been a pretty topsy-turvy week, and I know that out there in the business world, there's some really interesting information coming back from the fitness and wellness industry, and I think that it really is time, that we've got to get over this bloody Victorian stuff, and open up our not only a business like our businesses, but also the bloody borders. We've got to get the planes flying again, and we've got to get people out there. Everybody's going insane. But hey, but anyway, that's a bit of a discussion. But Eddie's going to be a little bit late. The Lady of Thought is on another call at the moment, so she'll be here shortly. So we were going.
Richard, if Eddie's the Lady of Thought, what are your nicknames for Megan and me?
Oh, mate.
Or we only find out when we're not here?
That's an interesting nickname. What does he use when we're late?
Yeah, exactly. Never be late, Megan. That's the key.
I can't be late now.
Edit that from the recording. Edit it. No. All good, guys. All good. Yeah, look, a lot of things happening out there, guys, and I think we start by going around the traps. Okay, so JT, you've had a pretty busy week. You've heard a few whispers, things that are going on around the rabbit traps. So let's go around the traps and see what news.
Yeah, I guess from my side of things, and it's almost like the first part of this, we could almost play every week. Business as usual in Western Australia, business as usual in South Australia, business as usual in Tasmania, in the great state of Queensland, apparently great state. Seems pretty close to business as usual. And I think New South Wales, with the numbers coming down in Victoria, the borders locked off, there seems to be a little bit more of an increase in consumer sentiment, and we're seeing some leads come back into clubs. We're seeing some gym members come back. I wouldn't say that any gym that I've spoken to has been overflowing with our members coming back. I still think there's that degree of skepticism. Emphasised brilliantly and eloquently, albeit falsely, by the Department of Health and the Dr. Brett Sutton in Victoria. I think those messages are harmful for us. But I think in general, I would say the industry is operationally, we're almost back. Sales-wise, income-wise, far from it.
Agreed. 100%.
So Megan, with New Zealand, things happening over in New Zealand, I know the greatest challenge that New Zealand has at the moment is trying to get the Australian rugby union side over there to play the Bledisloe Cup.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway, away from that, let's not talk about that. What's going on in NZ?
Megan, you might know more, but because I haven't heard anything, I think it's, again, business as usual over there, and they seem to have slipped, they've slipped straight back into operations, haven't they?
Yeah, we have. But it's, as you were saying, that it's trickling, clients are trickling back in, but we're nowhere near where we were before COVID hit. And I mean, the way that things are looking, it's probably going to be a long haul. both of all of our gyms are impacted here in Australia, in Queensland, and in NZ. So we're kind of getting prepared right now for a 6 to 8 month to 12-month plan where we can be sustainable and keep on our staff that we currently have. But nobody is rushing back into the gym right now. We had that initial rush, which was great, but now that we've leveled off, we've actually decreased in the amount of clients that we have, and the regulations are similar to over here, that it's really tough with a small space or a smaller space. And even the big box gyms are being impacted, of course, because of the social distancing that we have to have. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting process over the next 6 to 8 months. And yeah, looking forward to discussing some ways that we can assist the fitness industry, because it's by nowhere near finished of what the impact will truly be on us.
Do they have JobKeeper or the equivalent of that in New Zealand?
Yes.
And when does that finish?
But they haven't set a date of when that finishes, actually.
Oh, wow.
Question.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So currently,
Okay, we've lost Megan there.
No, we got it back.
feedback. Yeah, so everything's going okay, but still quite distraught.
Well, sorry.
One of the interesting things in Australia, Rich, is that lots of club owners are scurrying around rapidly to ensure that their income has dropped by 30% or whatever the percentage is. I'm pretty sure it's 30%.
Yeah, it's
to secure JobKeeper for another 3 months, albeit whether that be with highly integrous. Is integrous a word?
It is now.
You've just created an adjective out of it. I like it.
Okay. With highly
Well,
integrous.
Ask Eddie, the thought.
Lady of thought.
The lady
of thought. Here she is. Here she is.
She'll know if it's a word. Hey. Oh, you're on mute over there?
Yeah, she's just new.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi.
Hey Eddie, how you going?
Back in the museum, she's got her guys behind her. It's looking great.
Yeah, and she's already dressed up, ready to go out on a date.
That's it. In a suit. It's a good look.
Yes.
Say the same thing about me, Rich. I'm dressed up as well.
You're ready to go to the gym, mate. You're ready to go for a workout. But look, integrous is the word.
Yeah, I'm being a bit facetious because I think there are a lot of gym owners trying to push that income back into October so that they don't get it, or they're changing some things. So yeah, I think there's a little bit of lack of integrity there. But I guess at this point, it's not just our industry; it would be multiple industry, multiple operators trying to work out anything to survive. And I think some of them are genuinely trying to work out how to survive.
Yeah. Well, interesting. There was a survey done back in May, I think it was, from memory, of clients. The fitness industry clients. 85% of them said that they would come back and buy, memberships or pick up their memberships again. 85%. I don't know if that's actually the case, whether that's actually evolved, whether COVID's kept them away, or the thought of going back into the gym and going through the pain of starting again or something. I don't know, but certainly the centres that I've spoken to, certainly not 85%.
I spoke to some owners this week of CBD clubs in Sydney, and they own multiple clubs in the CBD, and they've lost about 20% of their membership base, 20 to 25% of their membership base, I think, have transferred out of their clubs to suburban clubs.
Well, see, nobody's working in the offices, are they? So the CBD areas, where there's nobody working in those centres, because we're all starting to work from home, and we live in a paperless society and all of that sort of fun stuff, so they're going to be struggling. But also, I know a couple of owners that had to go through a COVID clean, and man, that, I think it costs one of them, I think $10,000, to go through a COVID clean.
Eddie.
I'm going to tell you why. I'll tell you why.
She's gone to get a beer.
I'll get some wine.
It's the dog.
Stress.
Look, I want to come in. Oh, sorry.
Stress release.
My buddy, my roommate. Sorry about that.
Did any of you read? There was you probably didn't. I know, Megan, you probably wouldn't have, because you're in Queensland, and this was an article in a Sydney paper from a guy that owns, I can't remember his name. He owns Plus 24/7, which is at Epping here in Sydney. And they were named as a place where someone who had COVID had gone into and worked out. And he said in the article, he had 37 people cancel that night.
Wow.
And then the next day it cost him he was closed all day. And then it cost him $1,000 to clean the place. I don't know how that compares or what that price is like, but $1,000. And then 2 days later, the health department said it was a false positive.
You are joking.
So
Wow.
he's like now scrambling to try to get those 37 people back. He doesn't get that $1,000 back, obviously.
No compensation from the health department for the mistake.
Well, interestingly enough, Eddie, he contacted the health department and said, well, you've told me it's a false positive. Why am I still on your website? And I think up until almost 10 days afterwards or 7 days afterwards, he was still on the website as a place to avoid.
Wow.
So look, and again, JT, the media has a responsibility here as well to actually go back out to the public and then say, hey, listen, it was a false positive.
Yeah.
And that's not happening.
They're not interested in that story though, because it's old news as far as they're concerned.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, Channel 7 don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But
No one's gonna die, so let's not tell anyone.
Yeah.
On business, we don't,
Yeah. No. But the stress that's put back on that individual, is just immense. Yeah. Yeah. And again, I go back to it. I know I challenge, these medical professionals and Daniel Andrews to step up to the fitness industry and show proof of. In fact, come on our program next week, and on the next one, and tell us why you've taken those steps.
I love that, Richard.
Yeah.
That's a scoop. If you get Dan Andrews on the Friday wind down,
yeah.
Okay, is that a challenge, or is that
That's a definite challenge from all three of us, because I wish we might have to get a few more viewers.
apparently we might get a few female viewers if we get Brett Sutton on.
Oh, really?
Apparently, yeah. He's
Agree. I'll be early.
he's the hot tamale of the medical profession.
Is he? Okay, all right, okay. Well, we need to get somebody from one of those groups to explain to us why the fitness industry and the wellness industry are so bad. That there's such a bad place to go because they're condemned. You'll get COVID.
And also why they're not good. Why the research isn't being considered in any of those decisions. It's, we understand that being inside and all of those things, but there's actually a lot of research that we've been feeding them that you read in the media, which is being expressed around the studies and the benefits, and yet that's not being taken up by the politicians. So I don't understand why that gap exists. And they haven't given any explanation on why defend, why it's bad, but also why isn't it good? Like there's quite a few things that they're just skipping, isn't it? Aren't they? I think, yeah, which is what you're saying.
Oh, great point. Why are they not bringing up both sides?
Very much. And then why put people through all of this? You must have a COVID plan and adhere to this COVID plan. And we've got COVID cops, if you want to call them. And, you know, and at the end of the day, you turn around and you're going to slam them and close them anyway. You know what I mean? Yes, I know that, you know, there's cases in Melbourne or whatever, but can we not look at it regionally and sort of go, hey, listen, Ballarat ain't got anybody, or, you know, whatever it is, you know, and sort of deal with it that way. But the border closures, I can understand to a degree, but I tell you, you know, it's tough out there in business land. You know, the fitness and wellness industry pick up and deal with an awful lot of a big slice of business throughout Australia in whether it's, you know, $1,000 or whether it's, you know, $10 million of business potential. The fitness and wellness industry impact a lot of other industries.
Most definitely.
Mel, I just saw Mel's just made a comment, actually. She's watching about Dan Andrews was questioned apparently about everything, about the questions we're actually asking, and there was a stony silence, is what she said. He evidently wasn't prepared.
Well, I've heard from a number of different people that Dan Andrews goes off script. So he'll be taught, he's got a script and he follows it, and then all of a sudden he goes off on this tangent and just makes up his own shit.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's been told not to, hence there was silence.
He's been talking to Donald Trump.
Maybe. If he starts coming out with a comb over and looking orange, we know what's going on.
So should we?
He just sort of gets in this role of things and goes off script, but because of who he is, and I don't mean the Premier, I mean because of the type of person he is, he never goes back and says, I made a mistake. Because I from what I can gather, as just a spectator, he has never apologized for anything that he said that he may have got wrong.
Yeah, I haven't seen him.
So it's look, at the end of the day, we all feel gut wrenched and sorry for Victorians, but none of us, without actually being down there, we don't know just how horrible and horrendous it would be to live there, let alone try to work there. And I all I can do is empathize, but I can't even get my head around what it would be like to live down there.
Well, it's going to get to a point where the whole industry in Victoria will not exist if something doesn't shift, or the rest of the industry is going to, you know, we're going to have to look at helping support them as peers in the industry or something. You know, we're going to have to get some fundraising and keep some of these businesses alive, or there'll be nothing left in Victoria. I mean, they're all small business. The majority is small business in the fitness industry, aren't they? So
I did have a conversation today. I had a couple of conversations with people today based out of Victoria. I think one interesting one was with Greg Oliver from FLG. And I said to Greg, mate, any chance you could just pick up the phone and call ScoMo or call Dan himself? And he said, Dan Andrews is not even answering the phone to the CEO of Wesfarmers. He said, I'm a lot further down the rung than Wesfarmers CEO. So you know how they talk about in Victoria this ring of steel? The ring of steel's around Dan. No one can get to him. And until we do, I think as an industry, we are still going to be behind the eight ball. He is a maverick and he's out there. And it doesn't help anybody. But I think, unfortunately, that's the reality.
Well, I think, JT, is that, you know, my question is from within the industry. I don't think there's been enough noise, you know, to, you know, sometimes the old saying, you know, the squeaky wheel and whatnot, you know. So we've got here a couple of months ago, you know, I think the petition's closed now. 10,539 people signed a petition for fitness centres to stay open. right? 10,539. How many people live in or how many people would go to a fitness centre? How many people support those fitness centres in business? You know, what about the mums and the dads, the sports people, that, you know, the peripherals to all of this? There's got to be, you know, we've got to have somebody that stands up and says, listen, Daniel Andrews, if you don't listen to me, mate, I'll kick you in the proverbials. You know, it's almost like that, you know.
Yeah, and it's possibly media. I mean, I think a lot of people may not have signed the petition because there's a lot of people with problems. We're not the only industry. So I think it's hard to be asking your clients to keep turning up and supporting. And now can you sign this petition? And like, there's a lot of families struggling for a lot of different reasons. I do think it's kind of targeting the right media to put these politicians in a position where they are getting, numbers are seeing it and world are seeing it and they're looking bad politically. Over just, you know, this industry is upset, they can sweep that under the carpet. You know, it's sort of, I feel like it's like the public exposure of humiliation on television that might work. I don't know, but I don't know that asking, you know, family members, and yes, it would be ideal, but we don't have the time or the money to really get through to everyone, do we? I don't know, you know, and we don't have the time.
You know, I think in Australia, you know, we're a group of people that quite often just go, oh, she'll be right, mate. You know, nobody needs to make any noise about that. You know, you know, and it's quite often, you know, it's called, yeah, just acceptance. You know, and I think we should start to go, no, we don't have to accept this. We expect more from our politicians. We expect more from, you know, our representatives to stand up and say, you know, our businesses are dying. We have people that are dying, you know, not just from COVID, from the associated spin-offs from it all. And, you know, we need this for mental health. We need this for fitness, and we need it for so many different reasons. To not allow, like the announcement today, you know, to not allow regional fitness and wellness centres to open is stupidity. It's the only way I can say it. It's just stupidity. And we as an organisation should not accept that.
Well, and it's also, it does bear that political question on, you know, how are decisions being made, whether it's COVID or something else? What's the evidence for this?
I think that's a relevant point, Eddie. Whether it's COVID, whatever industry, what evidence are they using to make some of these decisions?
Yeah, I think it does bear that wider question of a democratic society and how we're being ruled, you know, and it's, we're not being given answers and we need to press them for answers. I think that's, as you say, Rich, like, I don't know that petitions are going to do it. I think humiliation and pushing for at least justice or an understanding, and maybe if we have an understanding, then we can do something about it. But it's like that whole, you know, you don't want to mandate a decision without the option of actually putting your point of view across. Or having the option of what other steps do we need to make. As you said, Rich, it's like the gyms have already done absolutely. The gyms, from what I've seen, have been the most thorough in any of the hygiene and any of the steps of any industry, you know, as thorough as any.
Eddie, I agree with that, but I would say that's 80, 85, 90%. I'm not sure what percent. It's certainly north of 80% of gyms around Australia are way more hygienic than plenty of other places. I just wonder whether, and this is me being, I guess, a bit cynical in a way, I just wonder whether the government see gyms as places where money and drugs are laundered, and which we all know does happen in 1, 2, 3 gyms, not even percentages, but 1, 2 or 3 gyms.
Or any business.
They're casting that across the entire industry.
Yeah.
Really? I haven't heard this. This is an interesting little conspiracy.
There are dodgy operators in every industry.
Totally. I would have thought the pubs were higher hitting on that one.
Well, I reckon pubs, and maybe that's why they're been slower to open. I don't know. I'm just, you know, you're trying to come up with second guess. Alternatively, you know, someone on one of his committees joined a gym and wanted to go in and cancel after they didn't use it for 2 years, and they said, you got to give us 30 days notice. And they went, but I haven't been in for 2 years. And they went, well, tough shit. You still got to give us 30 days notice. Well, I don't like that. But you signed the agreement and now I'm going to take it out on you.
Mhm.
But I think you nailed it there before, guys. And the question is, on what basis are these decisions made?
Yeah.
You know, what basis are these decisions made? Are they medical? Are they political? You know, are they economical?
They're not through industry consultation, that's for sure.
Yeah, they should be speaking to fitness.
We have no lobbyist. We have nobody that steps up for our industry and says, this is total bullshit, and, you know, gets in and fights and puts them in a headlock.
No, I think, Richard, that's not fair. I think, you know, I think Vic Active and Fitness Australia, the two bodies down there, have really tried, you know, different angles and to get involved.
Mhm.
So I think they're trying, but like I say, there seems to be this ring of steel around Dan that we just can't get through, and he's not listening.
And there's no process. I mean, I guess, you know, as we all know, we've never had to do anything like this before. There's no process, and this is government. It's like there's no process for that. There's no box. Sorry.
That's right.
Like, well, we need to get some processes. You know, it's not. We all thought it was short term, and when it was short term, we tolerated it. But it's now that this is a longer term problem, it's no longer something that we can tolerate. Yeah, it was unfair, and we went, okay, well, it's unfair, but it's short term. Let's just get on with it, and we pushed through as an industry. But now that it's looking like it's going to be, you know, 1 to 2 year impact, if not more, with for some people a lifetime impact, I just think it's a different strategy to a short term where you tolerate more. Now it's kind of like, well, no, this is no longer a small thing that I can push through on and manage. It's going to affect our whole industry from our point of view as well. Whether you're in it or
if
not.
they don't open until the 23rd of November, which is, I think, the approximate slated date, from the research I've done, I think that would make gyms closed in Victoria the longest closure in the world of gyms.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure from a state or a city perspective, I'm pretty sure it'll be, if it's not the longest, it'll be the top 3.
Compared to our stats, which on a world scale are way down, which is, I mean,
Correct.
Yeah, disappointing.
So, but show them a strategy, show them how this is going to, you know, the long-term effects of the lockdown, you know, and how we're going to arrive out of it, and how you as a business are going to survive. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's great to do all of these things, but you've got to give people light at the end of the tunnel. It's no longer, well, we're all going through this together anymore in Australia. It's like, you know, which was the mentality before. It's now you guys are in this by yourself, you know, and you deal with it and you come out of it. You know, I think that people are saying, show me light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, I can give a bit of light because I can give you a bit of a scoop from a few different people I've spoken to this week. There is some of the larger brands are pooling funds to do a consumer awareness campaign that will be rolled out across varying media platforms throughout Melbourne as soon as gyms are allowed to open. So it won't be come and join ABC gym. It'll be go back to your local gym. Come and train at your gym. So it'll be generic rather than brand orientated, because multiple brands are going to be funding this.
Look, and that's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. That's a great initiative.
That'll be really exciting, and everyone will benefit from that. And obviously not everybody can chuck money in. So you are relying, you know, some of the smaller independent clubs and studios are going to ride on the coattails of the bigger brands that can afford to put the money in. But I think also we need to be grateful to them for doing that, because we're all going to benefit as an industry from that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, that's really exciting news.
Yeah, that is good.
Has that sort of stuff happened overseas, JT, that you're aware of? I know you're more in the loop on the overseas sort of scoop.
Not really. It was more that they came together to fight for reopening, but they haven't ever pooled money together. There was the closest came in Minneapolis, where they took a full page ad out in the Minneapolis Times or Herald or whatever, the Tribune. That's a good American name for a newspaper, isn't it? The Tribune.
Would be pretty accurate. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was actually page 2. So you opened it up, and there it was, page 2, which was a manifesto on how gyms had sanitized, what their views were around the hygiene, and there would have been 25, 30 different logos of clubs from Minneapolis on that newspaper ad. And that was pretty much driven by Anytime Fitness head office and Snap head office, who are both based in Minneapolis.
That's awesome. What a great initiative.
That'd be, Snap, good Australian connection in there, I believe, with Ty Menzies over there.
Now he is, yeah. The big fella's moved over there.
Yeah.
Not sure why he moved from COVID-free Queensland to COVID rampant USA.
Guessing you might have done it just a little before.
No, he went like during.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, right. No, he's not changed. Well, I mean, he led that initiative. No, that's really exciting. That is really exciting to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Look, it's a great initiative, and probably, maybe we should have done it a little bit earlier in the piece as well, as an industry. But look, it's here, it's now, and it's moving forward. But look, anything new happening in the world of cleaning, new technologies out there, that are supporting the industry. I've heard of some stuff in relation to HEPA filters and ionisation. Is long-term, work, and it seems to it's built a lot of momentum in the last couple of weeks, and it's something that I think that is real, and there's lots of supporting information on that side of things. So if people are interested in something like that, it's worthwhile chasing that down, not only for wellness centres and fitness centres, but for commercial spaces as well, even for people's home, the portable units and all that sort of stuff. So that's building a lot of momentum. But has anybody else heard of anything else out there that's...
No, I just heard that in corporate space, which is quite exciting. So I gathered that lasts for, is it a month or something? Anyway, I'd only just heard about that, Rich, actually, a few days ago, that a lot of companies are bringing in.
Well, ionisation, and it's been around for a long time, and it kills bacteria and germs, as does HEPA 13 filters and that sort of thing. But, it's something that's, it's just constantly going in your home. It's just constantly going in your, like an air conditioning system.
Oh, okay. I've heard something different, and I need to get the technical on it, and I'll bring it in next week, because it's actually a new technology that I heard about this week that's patented, which can be sprayed in environments and not just like on all surfaces, because I was told about it because of a product I'm bringing out, which would influence that as well. So it actually sprays all surfaces, and it lasts longer. You don't have to leave it for 24 hours. There's a whole process. So let me get properly informed on that, and I'll bring that in next week, because I just heard about it, because it's going to influence also what we were doing, and we were getting UV cleaning, which may not be needed because of this product. So it's quite exciting and not expensive.
Sounds similar to Zuno, which lasts up to 30 days, and it enables you to be back in the gym within 30 minutes after cleaning. And there's a bunch of other benefits, but it's basically all natural, etc. So I know a lot of gym owners are using Zuno, which comes out of New Zealand, actually. Super safe and inexpensive as well. But I'd love to hear about your cleaning product. That sounds good.
Not mine, but yeah.
Or the one that you heard of. Yeah.
I just got an overview, and I didn't realise we were going to talk about that today. So
I think it's important for people to know that there's options out there. I mean, some of the cleaning regimes that are happening and that I've heard of are pretty horrific. And I think it's because they're just ill-informed that there's not another option. But
can I make a suggestion on cleaning, by the way?
Yeah.
So I was at a gym this week that will remain nameless. And the COVID marshal with their little red thing on was walking around cleaning. and she had her earbuds in while she was cleaning. If anybody's watching this who owns a gym, your COVID marshal or your cleaner are representing your brand. So they're out there. They have an opportune time to talk to members, build a relationship between the brand and the business. They're not just a cleaner. I looked at this COVID marshal, I looked at this person cleaning, and I just thought, you're doing more harm than good by walking around with your little phone tucked in here and your ear pods with your hair over your ears. It made me cringe. And people wonder why people don't like the fitness industry. Like, seriously, take the fucking things out and talk to members.
You're correct. You're right, and it's unfortunately, there's. I guess it comes back to like a management thing as well, JT. Get out in the centre yourself, and some of the centres that I've been to, where the owners or the management has been out amongst people and actually spoken to people and engaged with people. They've had some really interesting feedback, positive. And I've spoken to some clients in a couple of centres, and they've gone, how good was it? I haven't seen such and such for so long, but here they were out here, and they had a spray bottle in their hand, or they had a cloth in their hand, and it's things like that. And a couple of centres also, bought a couple of cans of paint and had painted during the COVID lockdown, and people said, wow, when we came back in here, look how it was fresh. It was like it was new. And all they did was paint 2 walls on the reception as you came in. But that's and you have to do that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
Which everybody did in lockdown 1 in Victoria, but now they got.
But interestingly enough, Victoria this week has been extremely busy when it comes to equipment, not just home equipment. So gym owners are still on the bright side of things, looking at what they can do and what they can implement now that they have a set, hopefully, timeline where they can reopen. And we've lived working in the corporate sector over the last 2 weeks in Victoria as well. Our sites out there, we just had a call on Wednesday that 80 of our steel workers that normally would not be interested in even going to a gym if we built it on site for them are now all wanting to engage in the health and wellness program, and they want to buy equipment. They now can see that this is inevitable, and they're starting to engage with us, which is huge. And we've implemented some fitness competitions that can be run online via Zoom, just basic things like plank and how many squats you can do in 2 minutes. And it's getting the entire team excited, and it's shifting that energy from what we were discussing earlier, which can be very heavy right now, to having a lot of people wanting to reach out to fitness professionals. And right now is a good time for Victorians to be, yes, investing in things like equipment or paint, but also looking at, they now know it's going to go a lot longer than they thought, and people are really wanting to step into some sort of fitness. And I think going back to the petition and why people didn't sign it, because they're just not in the right headspace. They're in the headspace now, realizing that their fitness or nutrition things are important because it's been so long. I feel like now it's starting to click. So there's a light side at the end of the tunnel for our industry in Victoria, just as long as you're ready to pivot and just look at some different avenues, because I can tell you, we've been so busy over there in equipment and in our corporate sector for health and wellness programs. Wow. So those 2 industries are, I mean, as I mentioned, and Eddie was saying she had a really busy week this week too. It's been a really busy week, although it's not in the areas that we're normally focused in with face-to-face coaching or building new gyms, things like that. So,
well, Megan, as a supplier of product, I've spoken to a number of equipment suppliers this week of different, and every one of them has said in the retail market, has been fantastic. As far as commercial space, One of the guys said that 99.9% of the projects that he was to supply to are closed down, are stopped. Okay. Yep. He said they everything has been put on hold. Look, some of the other guys, that had taken deposits, some of the owners had said, "Can you hold that?" So look, some of them have got product on the sea, can't get enough product into the country. Look, it's crazy. It's crazy times out there as a supplier. Look, I mean, everybody's just trying to cut everybody's throat to get product into somebody's centre, and it's not good for it's not good for anyone.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, most of the suppliers, we work with about a dozen different equipment suppliers, and they've actually kept on target because they've been able to sell consumer-based products. Some like some industrial products, they're selling to consumers because people are now going, okay, I'll make a gym in my garage, and we're selling like huge pieces of equipment, of tough stuff or active, where it's huge rates. People are getting pretty serious about it. So, I mean, it's still moving, and they're still very desperate for equipment over there. And we're trying to get it there as quickly as we can. And luckily, we still can ship equipment over there. So that's another right side.
So the spin-off from this for gym owners, though, is that they're sort of going, hey, am I going to lose that client? They're working out of home, and how do I handle that, and how do I deal with that? That's what I'm sort of hearing out there as well. So I mean,
the only reason a gym owner would be thinking that, Richard, would be if they had a shit community. Like if there was no bond in the club between the members and the team and the brand and what they did, if that wasn't the case, they should be concerned.
Agreed.
Yep.
I mean, we also discussed, no matter what, we're all being very realistic that we're going to be running at about a 20% loss. So we're already forecasting that, and then we're really looking at how can we ensure that community, it stays together no matter what happens. So yeah, looking after your evangelists for sure.
I guess a lot of the people in a CBD are probably struggling, but majority of those are chains, are they not? So they can afford to relocate or to send people in different, redisperse resources, I guess. I mean,
I'm going to open a gym in 12 months with all the equipment that'll be on the curbside from the cleanups. I'm just going to drive around, package it all up, and I reckon I'll have enough for a pretty good gym.
I reckon you're right, JT. I reckon you're right.
People will stop using it. It'll be where you hang your wet towels, or your gardening gloves if it's in your garage, because you just need that social interaction.
Yeah.
And at the moment, we're not getting it, or certain people in Victoria are not getting it, obviously, and perhaps people don't feel safe in other states, so they're putting it in. But I just think we are social people. We want to engage with other people, and yeah, it's going to happen. Hey, Richard, I just saw, by the way, Mel put a post up on the feed that 30,000 people have now signed that petition.
Mate, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. They need to.
Tony Doherty is going to be on Channel 7 News in Melbourne tonight, and I know the reason why our special guest that we were going to get on today couldn't join us is Barry Elvish was also interviewed by Channel 7 Melbourne today.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, hopefully they come out, mate, and the media portray it positively, and it's hard hitting and because that's what really needs to happen. None of this soft mamby-pamby, she'll be dandy sort of stuff. It's got to be, mate, enough is enough.
We need to get on a current affair. Bring back Today Tonight.
That's what we need. Bloody oath.
Yeah.
I think Victoria needs a lady to lead down there. That's what needs to happen.
Maybe a lady of thought.
Maybe.
Lady of thought.
And I don't know if everyone would agree with that in Queensland with Anastasia Palaszczuk at the moment.
Exactly right. I was going to say the right lady.
What? I know we shouldn't talk.
Yes, maybe.
Why is it that, the first female leaders that are trying to make some places in politics have just been so atrocious.
I know we shouldn't
It's
talk
so
politics, Megan, but is she going to get back in?
It's not looking good, is it? After the slamming she's taken over the last week and a half.
Well, like outside, none of us would vote for her, but we don't get to vote.
Yeah, I would have thought it's looking great, isn't it? Because she's
What's it? Yeah, what's internally inside Queensland?
With regards to, sorry, I missed the, like,
Yeah, because like outside of Queensland, none of us would vote for her.
yeah.
But inside Queensland, are Queenslanders parochial enough to actually back her, or are they saying you're actually crueling our economy?
I think it's a slow shift right now, and they are saying that she's cooling their economy, and I think it's, yeah, everyone's awakening here to the rest of the states, and I don't think she will get back in.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow, then who's the opposition?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the percentages. I'm just going on the basis of everyone I speak to here. And
What a big job that's going to be to resurrect Queensland. The borders will be open, on the 1st of November? Because the election's the 31st, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Right away.
So many people have said that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah.
Wow. I've got one of the clients that I work with, he's just had appointed a manager who was relocating from Sydney up to Brisbane. So he loved it because she moved up. She went into quarantine for 2 weeks. So he gave her all the training manuals to study in quarantine. She graduates out of quarantine and comes straight to work with like a great foundation of knowledge.
Let's do quarantine. There's always right.
Yeah, I do. I wonder how the RTOs are going. Maybe they are doing okay.
Oh, that's a good question. I wonder how many people are actually lining up to do a course.
I was thinking about that earlier, of wanting to ask Barry that if he's seen a huge influx, because I've been suggesting to anybody who's previously graduated from AIF, like my old students or people that are asking me for their advice, my advice right now, if they're out of work, is to study and upskill and up level in your, like, in the fitness industry. So I wonder.
Yeah, I know they were offering some lower price courses and stuff because of it.
There is a lot of incentives, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to see if we can get Steve Pettit from AIF on next week? In 2 weeks?
For sure.
All right, I'll get look, Steve will jump on for sure.
Cool. The other one, I think is, worthwhile trying to, bringing on is some people from within the medical industry that might be able to explain some of these reasonings, behind some of these decisions, So I'll do some investigation and see what we can go.
My friends who are doctors are.
Yeah.
The conspiracy theorist side.
Yeah.
Find one for the system that'll give the system answer. Yeah, because it's interesting. I've found it interesting speaking to medicos because it's really different opinions than I expected. They're not all in agreement with the government decisions, is all I'll say.
I do think as an industry, we really need, like if I'm sitting down with someone now who owns a club in any state other than Victoria, although Victoria probably would tick this box as well, is I really think they need to be sitting down and thinking seriously about 2021. They've got to come out of the blocks in January hard with good service offerings. They do not need to discount because people are going to be cashed up. They're going to have money in the bank and they're going to also have cabin fever and wanting to get out. 100%. We don't need to drop our price, but we're going to have a really good product offering.
I think too, JT, just thinking about some things here that we're actually starting to come into the spring, summer months, which is the people getting out and about. So it'll be interesting, and we probably should have done some homework on what's happened over in other countries that are now starting to go back into their winter after being, out in the summer and the sunshine. And I think that, maybe we can have a look at what's gone on or not gone on in, say, countries like the USA, which are probably similar in mindset, in relation to fitness.
64,000 cases in Europe in one day yesterday, and France had their largest number of coronavirus cases in one day ever yesterday.
Wow.
So Europe are really concerned that they're about to get hit by a second wave.
Mm. And I heard India's also gone through the roof in the last couple of days.
India, I think they had 100 million cases in a day, but gyms reopened this week.
Well, yeah, I don't know if that's right. Anyway.
So maybe we could ship Dan Andrews over to India and he can leave a legacy for the Indians and go, you know what, we're going to close all the gyms and that's going to solve how many people dying.
And he'll be gone. And so we're killing two birds with one stone there.
No pun intended on the kill.
So look, I think that it's interesting, and thanks Mel in the background there for sending through some information. And it'd probably be good. It sounds like Mel's out there and got a finger on the pulse in a few areas, and I think it'll be great to bring some of these people out there that that are in amongst all of this sort of stuff and kicking butts or slapping heads or asking questions. And I think that that's a good thing for us as an industry to sort of know that that's going on behind the scenes. So yes, bring on Barry.
Mel started that association in Victoria as well, so trying to lobby. So be interesting to see how she's gone with that.
I think one of the important things, I tried to use this metaphor with someone today about Victoria, that, we may well see on the stage, like if you use the metaphor of a stage show, that on the stage we might see the 2 or 3 actors, but behind the scenes, there's 25 or 30 people working their asses off to be able to provide a great show for everybody in the audience. And so potentially what we see is Tony Doherty or Mel Tempest or Barry Elvish or whomever on stage. Behind the scenes, there's a lot of people working really hard to get gyms open. And as hard as they work, they're not achieving anything. And I understand that the personal trainer who works in a park or the group fitness instructor or even the independent gym owner wants to blame somebody, and I get that. I would just implore them not to blame the fitness industry. They need to blame the government. It's not Fitness Australia's fault. It's not FitRec. It's not Vic Active. It's no one in our industry's fault. We're all fighting for the same thing. So don't blame us.
Yeah.
Put your energy and your focus on the politicians, because they're the ones that are giving mixed messages, different messages, strange messages, bizarre messages. It's not our bodies that are working their butts off and the people behind the scenes. So I get why they're angry, but I'd prefer them to direct their anger at the people that are causing the issue, not the people that are trying to solve the issue.
Oh, look, I agree, JT, and I think that I come back to something that I said a little earlier in relation to where in Australia we just accept things, and it's time. I don't say we need to go out and march the streets, and I think there's smarter ways of working than that these days. But I think we do need as a community, as an individual, we need to stand up and say, this is not correct. Show us the facts, whatever it is. Prove to us why, and not just be led by like sheep.
Yeah.
So when you say, can I just ask the question? So I totally agree with what you're both saying. When we're saying go to the media, do that, are we saying get behind the Fitness Australians, get behind to help them get into the media? Because as an individual sole trader, small business owner, where do you go? Like what is the best approach? I mean, that's kind of one of the questions I have. It's kind of like, okay, want to do something. What can I do? Can we can the individuals get involved with the larger companies that are doing something and get behind it and be kept in the loop? Can we, Fitness Australia do give public announcements. Some people are members, some aren't. This is kind of where I feel there's a link missing as well. It's like there's people doing stuff, but they're all doing it in pockets. And this has always been a problem in our industry. We all know that, where everyone tries to do their own thing and they want to be more important than the other person. And we actually have to come together. But who's going to be that coming together to an extent? And one of the challenges we've had, I believe, is the fact that, let's say, for me, the elephant in the room, like that the Fitness Australia Fit Rec, which body do you represent? Which one's right? Which one's wrong? Instead of, as JT's saying, putting blame on, not that you were saying that argument, but putting blame on whose fault that we're not where we want to be, who are we going to be?
I don't think
people go to conversations.
Yeah, I don't think we have to back anybody. I think we just have to back our industry.
Well, I think there has to be some strategy though, JT, because it's
I do agree with that.
A lot of that's all I'm trying to say is like there's a lot of people doing bits, but we need to kind of find out a way of, let's pull all this together and find out so that we can share the information usefully. When we need the numbers, we're all there to support it. And try and have some strategy. Otherwise, it is a whole lot of little people trying to do bits or bigger people doing bit there. But I don't know. I just think there's a link missing in that.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Megan, you go.
And within that link missing, there's discrepancies between what we're actually arguing for. So there's mixed messages that we're sending the government. So it's really important that we actually come together in unison and tackle the same issue at the same time.
Yeah.
So,
but I think you're right, Eddie. In relation to a strategy, what is the that's an extra 10 push-ups. Thanks, JT.
They're baked, not fried.
And there needs to be some thought put behind this, as how we actually direct it and where we actually go. I'll go back to a couple of sessions before this where we had Dallas Roskelly in from Planet Fitness, and he drove a bit of a local, a thing with the local politicians and the media here, and certainly put a bit of a highlight, like in this area, New South Wales, to sort of say to these guys, come on, enough's enough. And it certainly lifted the profile. I know here in our area, where the local ministers and government, politicians, said, oh, gee, okay, somebody out there does have a voice, and it's a little bit like that. We need to have, somebody who's the head, if you want it. So I'm voting for you, Eddie.
lady of thought is always.
She's the lady of thought. She's the lady of thought.
Lady of thought.
Where did this come?
I could tell you, but we'd have to kill you.
Yeah, totally. Right.
I need some more chips.
And there does need to be some strategy behind it, with some thought, so.
From the outsider looking in, Fitness Australia's position is lobby the government, and Vic Active should be belt the media. Because I don't think Fitness Australia can do both. And I'm not, maybe Vic Active can lobby the government as well. I'm not saying don't. But to me, I think that kind of, and the message has to be really clear, just let us open. Just let us open.
And maybe,
part of it, that messaging, isn't it, as Megan brought up? It's like, because there are a few people going a little extreme, I think, as we've brought up before, on what we expect. I think we need to be realistic about what that is, and also get the vote of everyone in the industry. To an extent, it's just a lot more powerful if there's a little bit more of that. There's been no consultation with people, really. It's just a few people put it on their shoulders to make a decision on what they think the whole industry wants. Of course, we want to be open. I think that's a really safe message. It's just
you nailed something there, Eddie. You nailed something there. And I'll go back to JT when he was talking about the lady that was cleaning up in the gym with and they were, and the gym owners actually getting back out into amongst their membership to find out what it is that they think and feel. Maybe you nailed something there to say, when's the last time you actually went out into the fitness industry and talk to the people in the fitness industry. I don't know. I guess it's a question to Barry, and it's a question to Mel or to the representatives, whoever. You know, when's the last time you went out and knocked on the door of the little mum and dad gym just around the corner and said, hey, listen, how you going? What can we do to help you? I know you're not a member of our association or whatever it is. What can we do to help? You're part of the body.
By the look at Dan Andrews and his posture, I don't think he's ever been in a gym.
Agreed.
I'm thinking
Maybe there's the angle right there. Well, tell you what, we'll give you free gym membership and sort this out.
Yeah,
he needs some total gym work. That's what he needs, Megan.
They would see that as a bribe. They would see that as a bribe, and they can't accept bribes. Yeah.
No, they'd only see it as a bribe if it was a hydro massage bed, Richard.
Yeah, that's be right.
Do you like how he did that? Like just rolled it.
Yeah, that's right, mate. That's right. Yeah. But you know, look, I think that look, and they're real good questions, and maybe, you know, Barry or Mel can come on the next show. Who's somebody, you know, that can sort of say, you know, we have a strategy, even if this COVID, even if they open up tomorrow. Maybe if they've listened to our concerns here today, and Daniel Andrews goes, gee, you know, JT made some very good points. I think I should open up tomorrow, right? You know, I think it's worthy to carry on, not just for not just for the next couple of months, but this should be a conversation moving on for the future of the fitness and wellness industries.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's about time, guys. But hey, listen, look, great session this afternoon. I think we've got to drop it there. Let's get some of these people that have been sending in some great messages here this afternoon. You know, they're leaders in the community of the fitness and wellness industry. Let's bring them in and let's just ask them some questions and see where we can go from there.
We're all in together.
Well, Richard.
Yeah.
You leave the three of us to work on industry people, and we'll leave Dan Andrews to you.
Okay. All right. There's a challenge. All right. If you're out there in YouTube land, Facebook, whatever this thing's going out to, guys, in social media land, send this to Dan Andrews and let's see if we can bring him on.
I'm going to enjoy this episode, let me tell you.
And you know what? We will fully support Dan Andrews. We will all wear North Face jackets.
Also, those of you that are viewing this, if you do have questions for us, drop them below and we'd love to get back to you, and we can answer them on the next episode in 2 weeks' time. So please ensure that anything at all, if it has to do with the fitness industry, we'd love to assist any topics that we brought up today.
Well done, guys. Fantastic. Great seeing you all, and look forward to a fortnight.
Sounds good.
Stay safe.
Thank you, guys.
Wash your hands.
Have a-